Welcome to Love, Laughter, and Limits. I'm Tom Dozier, and this lesson is Empathy and Understanding for Teens. Words that calm and connect. This class will teach you how to respond to your child in a way that builds your relationship and improves your child's behavior. So if you're frustrated with your teen, consider this a way to improve her behavior. And if you want to be more connected with your teen, then consider this a how to get closer skill, or how to have your teen feel more connected to you and the family. Now, to me, in my view, effective parenting is like a three-legged stool that includes love and warmth, which is very, very powerful and important in your relationship with your children and the effectiveness that you'll have. It also includes a positive home environment, which really promotes good behavior and helps a child adapt to life and situations. And then it also includes empathy and understanding. And those are the three legs of the stool. And all of this is on a foundation of effective behavioral parenting skills. And this is really an awesome combination. And this lesson is going to be on the empathy and understanding portion. So I want to give credit to Dr. Haim Ginott, who really started the whole discussion on communicating to children with empathy in his book Between Parent and Child, which was published in 1965, and there's a revised edition out now. And it's a good book, but it just deals with one segment of what really is a much larger issue for effective parenting. So what is empathy? Empathy is to identify the feeling, the thought, or the attitude of your child. That's very important, to both realize what it is and then to express it. If your child says, "I hate school," think, well, what's going on? Is your teen a good student and it's exam time? Well, then maybe the pressure of exam is getting to her. So you say, well, sounds like the pressures of exams is getting to you. And if you're wrong, she'll tell you what it is. They just walked in from school, and then maybe something unpleasant happened at school. So you say, wow, you're upset. That's the feeling. What's up at school? And that's a non-judgmental statement. There's no accusing of what did you do, right? Just, well, what's up at school? And if they want to talk about it, they can. Maybe there's a running problem at school with a friend or something, and you say, wow, sounds like you had a horrible day. What happened? There you go. They just let them talk about it at that point. And then you can connect. Now, understanding is having a knowledge of your child and how things affect him, and having a desire to help. And that's also very important because we're all on the same team. We want to be on one team, not us against our kids. And so suppose your child got a D in math and they're on the basketball team and it's basketball season, so they won't be able to play. So you say something like, wow, a D in math, bummer. That's sure going to mess up basketball season. Okay? That's the impact on them. Very connecting, very understanding. Now, sympathy is really sharing your child's feeling, right? Especially sorrow or trouble. And it's been said that a mother is only as happy as her saddest child. And I'm going to say no way is that good. It shouldn't be that way, because as a parent, you need to keep a good mood. Now, you can be sad for them a little bit, but you've got to stay up because you're a stabilizing influence in your home, and that's extremely important. So empathy, yes. Understanding, yes. Sympathy a little bit, but just we don't go all the way to their level because we have to be the solid, stable parent in these situations. Now, we often respond to our teens with logic. They ask us a question, we give them a logical answer. They make a statement, we tell them, no, this is really the way it is. They don't want to do homework, we say, but, and then we start giving them all the reasons why they need to do homework. The other thing we often do with teens is an interrogation. This is endless stream of who, what, when, where, and why questions. We often try to correct them, right? A child may say, I need to, and you say, no, you don't, or I feel. My wife was always frustrated as a teen when she would say something like, well, I think this or that, and her mom would say, no, you don't. It's like, I do, you know? So a child says, I hate my brother. And we're apt to say, oh no, you don't hate him. Or no, we don't use that kind of word in this family. Or we don't talk like that. See, that's being critical. Sometimes, just in the way we ask a question can be critical. Kid comes home and says, oh, I got in trouble at school today. And we say, well, what did you do? That's an assumption that the child caused the problem, right? Or we're critical by saying things like, well, you sure messed that up, or you shouldn't have done that, or don't do that, or you don't have time to play that stupid video games. And we react in critical ways. It doesn't help the behavior of our kids, and it puts distance between us and the kids. Now, arguing is another issue that's a problem, because arguing, like why the child has to do their stupid homework, or the child says, I'm stupid, or I'm ugly, or I don't have any friends, and we start saying, oh, yes, you do, and this, and I think you're pretty, and the child is arguing against themselves, and they actually remember what they say more, so it just makes it worse. And all of these responses are coercive, and they put distance between you and your teen, and that isn't good. That makes things worse. So the basics of empathy, the key here is that you want your first response to be empathy. You want to respond to the feeling, not the fact. So I had a parent with a situation where their kids were blaming them for being late for school. And the dad says, I just go to the door and I said, I've got the key. I'm right here. I'm not making you late. If you'd have got up on time, you wouldn't be late. If you'd have done your stuff, you wouldn't be late. And he's trying to make them feel the responsibility, but they're arguing back, and it doesn't do any good. So you're much better off to use empathy in that situation, where the kid says, you made me late again, and you say, I know you want to be on time. I'm right here with the key. That's all you have to say. You don't have to argue or try to correct them. And if they say, but you made me late because you didn't wake me up on time. Now, yes, you were supposed to wake them up on time, but they have an alarm clock that you bought them, and they won't use it. But you did say you would wake them up on time, and you didn't, so you say, hey, I'm sorry I didn't wake you up on time today. I know you hate to be late. And then don't have a fight over the alarm clock at that time. That's a point for a later time if you're going to stop waking them up and have them use an alarm clock. You want to acknowledge that feeling and don't argue or refute it. The child says, I hate my sister, or I hate my little sister, little brat. Say something like, wow, you sure are upset. What's up? That's empathy. She's identified that she's upset, she's angry, she's frustrated, she's furious. Say it. Or the child says something like, why do I have to do all this homework? Now, they don't want an answer to that. They just don't want to do the homework. What they're really saying is, I don't want to do all this homework. So respond to the feeling. You know, I know there are a lot of things you'd rather do than homework. Or, in an understanding response, how does it affect the child? If a child has trouble with a friend and they're in a singing ensemble together, you may say something like, well, that's going to make it really hard for you since she's in your ensemble group. Right? Understand how it affects the child. Now, empathy and understanding does not include you're right. You're not agreeing with your child. You're simply acknowledging their feelings. And you're not saying whether they're justified or not justified. So this first response with empathy is really to acknowledge the feelings so that your child knows that you've heard them. Now, the structure of empathy, kind of two parts. You have a lead-in, which basically is something like, I can tell, and then you'd have a feeling. You're furious. So lead-ins can be words like, seems like, sounds like, looks like, I guess, I bet, I can tell, or that must have been, and then the feeling. Embarrassing. Okay? Feelings such as hard, easy, fun, scary, difficult, exciting, interesting, anxious, worried, hurt, shunned, embarrassed, happy, sad, mad, furious, relieved. There's a a huge, array of feelings that you can be expressing, but you want to just have that lead in and the feeling. I can tell you're really worried. Wow, I bet that was hard. Sounds like you're excited, or you sound excited. See? And you want to deliver it with a good tone of voice, a facial expression, and your body language. So if it's something exciting, you go, hey, wow, you sound excited. Or if they're really frustrated, you go, oh man, you really seem upset. Okay? If you can just be sincere, the tone of voice, the facial expression, and the body language will flow. And if you can't be sincere, fake it. Do the best you can. But you want to match the child's mood so that you're responding appropriately. If you responded in a jovial, wow, you sound really upset, they're just going to get mad at you. So you got to have the nonverbal cues to be appropriate. Now, what are some of the benefits of empathy? Well, first, it reduces useless arguing that doesn't go anywhere and makes things worse. It really helps your teen feel like they're heard and understood. And that creates a connection between you and your teen. And remember, the closer you are to your teen, the greater the positive influence you can have on them. Responding with empathy is generally calming. It's far more calming than arguing or criticizing, and it'll actually help your teen pull it together and deal with their emotions and their situation much better. So it actually promotes good behavior, better behavior at least, because you're understood, the teen is understood, and when you let them know that you understand them, then they're more open to any kind of suggestions or comments from you, so you can communicate what you want to in a better way, more effectively, and they will talk to you more, so it greatly enhances communication between you and your teen. And a really important effect of having empathy rather than criticism or yelling at them or scolding them is that it keeps the natural consequences on the child instead of allowing the child to be mad at you. Say if they came in and says, I got in trouble at school today, and you start griping at them and yelling at them how they're always screwing up and doing bad things at school, and they're going to get suspended and kicked out, and they're going to screw up their whole life, they're going to walk away mad at you rather than concerned about any actual natural consequences from what they did. So let me give you a family story here. My son was about a senior in high school. He had borrowed my car, and it's a Sunday afternoon, and I told him he could drive it for a little bit, and I was upstairs, and I hear clump, 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 him coming upstairs. I was in the bedroom, and he collapses on the bed and goes, oh. I says, son, what happened? He goes, I wrecked your Mercedes. Now, this is a 1970, antique Mercedes 280 SL sports car. And I went, oh, are you okay? He goes, yeah. I says, what happened? He says, oh man, I was driving along and I lost control and I went through a barbed wire fence. I said, well, I'm glad you're okay. And I just patted him on the back. I was kind of patting him on the back during some of this. And he just groaned and moaned in agony. And after a little while I said, well, you'll have to cover the deductible. He goes, yeah, I know. And he just continued to kind of lay there and for a little bit, and then he hopped up and he walked out of the room. Now what he did is he went down and he got in his little clunker that was his assigned car. He went back to where he had driven through the farmer's fence. The farmer was there fixing the fence. He got out, worked with the farmer to repair the barbed wire fence, and then offered the farmer, he worked at a 7-Eleven nearby, and he offered the farmer some free drinks if he'd just come by, and he told him when he was working. And the guy actually did. The farmer came in, and my son, bought him the drinks. and as a kind of an I'm sorry for messing up your fence. So his behavior was very good after the accident and very appropriate, where if I'd have been screaming and yelling at him, then he would have been mad at me. And we still let natural contingencies play out. When you express empathy and understanding often, it helps your child feel connected to you, and you want to do it at both times that they're happy and positive, good times and bad times, when they're down, troubled. And say, hey, sounds like you're in a good mood, or hey, it looks like good things are happening, what's up? Or you sound happy. Those are just simple ways of connecting with them in a positive way. And that will make it easier for you to practice this so that you're ready when they're having tough times or bad times. Now, empathy is a huge part of the behavioral parenting skills that you'll learn at Love, Laughter, and Limits. Empathy is embedded in every single skill. So it's very important in terms of the impact on the behavior, but also very important for connecting to your child. So in summary, remember that expressing empathy and understanding is a fundamental core part of Love, Laughter, and Limits parenting. You should generally use empathy and understanding as your first response to whatever your teen says. It will help your child feel connected to you, and it will improve your child's behavior. And very importantly, it will allow your teen to learn from the natural consequences of the boneheaded things that they do from time to time. So try responding to your teen with empathy and understanding instead of logic and criticism and arguing and things that just make it worse. You'll be amazed at what a positive difference that will make between you and your team, between you and your teen, and in your overall mood in your home. So thank you for watching Express Empathy and Understanding for Teens. Words that calm and connect. I'm Tom Dozier, wishing you an abundance of love and laughter and empathy in your family, along with limits to help your child behave well and be happy. Thank you.